As many of you already know, I put a huge emphasis on my channel about energy, acquiring more energy, holding on to it. Energy is what we need to live a life full of vigor. We have to have energy to have strength. We have to have energy, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to see through the illusions and the spells that are being cast against us. And yes, there is a spell that has been cast on humanity. And that spell, ladies and gentlemen, is the perception blinders that we have had put on us. There's a handful of ways that this has happened, and I've explained this in a multitude of my older videos, so I don't want to repeat myself. But I will say that our perception is greatly hindered, and it has a lot to do with our current level of energy, or lack thereof. The lack of energy is why most people have unhealthy lifestyles, why they don't have energy to get out of the bed every morning and tackle their dreams, and a handful of other things. So I don't want to be repetitive, ladies and gentlemen. I want to dive directly into it. More often than not, when people start taking care of their health, it can be something as simple as taking medicinal mushrooms. When they start doing this, they start to feel better. They start to give their body what it needs. And even if you start only giving your body what it needs in minute amounts, for instance, the medicinal mushrooms, more often than not, your body gets such a surge from it that you start to put two and two together, and you start to see past your blinders, excuse me. I know a lot of people personally that I've worked with where they were very stubborn and reluctant to start even taking something like a mushroom supplement or some magnesium. But once they started doing it, once they started to experience the benefit, the pieces kind of connected themselves together, and what used to be a lack of flow became a flow. Oftentimes people just need a nudge in the right direction, and once they get that nudge, it's like a domino effect, ladies and gentlemen. So right now here in the Matrix, the domino effect is in effect for the masses, for the collective, but it's in the wrong direction. So as I've talked about in previous videos, we can either develop momentum that brings us closer to what we want, closer to health, closer to vigor, closer to enlightenment, or we can backpedal and do the opposite. Now, unfortunately, here in the Matrix, the way it's set up, the opposite, doing the wrong thing, is much easier. And it has a lot of false comforts that trick people into sustaining that way of living their life. And they end up living the majority of their life backpedaling, going the wrong way. You see, in a world that is sick, in a world that is broken, in a world that venerates moronic behavior, doing the right thing can be very difficult. So breaking your chains that are keeping you bound to going backwards, metaphorically speaking, is of utmost importance. And it starts through your participation. I mean, in one day, ladies and gentlemen, you can literally start breaking generational curses within your DNA, within your genetic material, within what makes you you. You harbor a genetic library of your ancestors, ladies and gentlemen. You are the accumulation of your ancestors in the present moment, here in this holographic world. You have the ability to reverse generational curses and to start trotting the high road, to start striving for what the Stoics called eudaimonia, which is the higher self, enlightenment. This world is a platform. It is a launching pad that we can utilize, ladies and gentlemen, to quantum leap into evolution. But we don't know that because we've bought into a way of living where we think that working is the meaning of life, and it's just, you already probably know where I'm going to go with this. So there's no point in being repetitive. I will, however, say that the world that we are born into is a very illusionary realm, ladies and gentlemen. It's called the Matrix. And the Matrix is an artificial realm that exists within the natural kingdom, which I like to call Gaia, Earth. And this natural kingdom is a living, shamanic, breathing library that we can tap into shamanically, elementally, and that we can derive massive amounts of not only power from, but we can learn from it. So here in the Matrix, ladies and gentlemen, once your birth certificates get signed and put into the system, you're forced to go down, you know, the current of the Matrix, so to speak. You're forced to start getting the injections, and because you're in the system and being documented and monitored, you have to go to school and you have to go and do this, that, and the other, and you get all these obligations, and suddenly, by the time you're 10 years old, you've lost your damn mind because you've been exposed to so much stimulus and forced to do so many things, and you've been given so many tasks and reports and all this stuff that keeps your mind in a very limited state. You see, we were never taught how to think properly, ladies and gentlemen. We were never taught how to breathe properly. We were never taught how to live, again, properly. The ancient schools of philosophy, at least some of them, were all about teaching people how to live properly. Schools don't do that. Modern education indoctrinates you with factoids and teaches you that the sum total of knowledge in the modern era is how much you can remember from the books that you are forced to read. It's ridiculous. It has nothing to do with true education, because true education, ladies and gentlemen, is about wisdom, and school has nothing really to do with wisdom. There's some great things that you can learn from school. Modern education, communication skills, basic mathematics, vocabulary, you name it. But for the most part, it is a mind control tool that's presented under the guise of it being an educational tool. So that's why so many people don't question it. Because at the end of the day, how could you question something that's designed to give us so much good? How could you question something that just wants to teach us stuff? Now, I'm being sarcastic because this is how most forms of advanced mind control are deployed on us, ladies and gentlemen. It's done under the guise of something